I would now like to move on to the next segment, which is the most interesting segment, which is the panel discussion. And to remind you, in this panel discussion, I'm sure that you have many things to clarify, many things to ask. So if you have any questions, you can surely type your questions on the Zoom chat box, and our organizers will share the questions with us, and we will make sure that the most relevant questions will be asked today. But none of your questions will be missed. We will share an email address, and also there's a Google form which will be shared on the chat box as well, so you can type those on that as well. And also you have the raise your hand option, where you can use that, raise your hand and ask a question from the panelists as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, the panel discussion is about connectivity and communication in Eastern region. So let me now introduce the panelists. Our first panelist is Chairman ICTA Agency of Sri Lanka and Director General of Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, Mr. Oshada Senanayaka. Our next panelist is Mr. Prabhat Ambegoda, Chief Corporate and Digital Officer, SLT Mobitel. Our next panelist, Mr. Supun Veerasinghe, Director, Group Chief Executive Officer, Dialog ICTA PLC. And our next panelist, Mr. Ashish Chandra, Chief Executive Officer, Airtel Sri Lanka. Next panelist, Mr. Zidukumar Nadarasa, Chief Executive Officer, Hutch. And our next and the final panelist is Dr. Prasad Samrasinghe, Managing Director, Lanka Bell. And today we will discuss about the overall plan of the Telecommunication Regulation Commission on connectivity and digital infrastructure, improvements of the connectivity and the Eastern region. But before we move on to the panel discussion, to give an introduction, I would like to invite Chairman ICTA Agency of Sri Lanka and Director General of Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, Mr. Oshada Senanayaka.
Thank you, Bernadine. Good morning to everyone. And I would like to welcome the distinguished leadership of the telecommunication industry today here with us for this session. As I've spoken earlier on, I believe as we go along this digital transformation journey as a country, the key imperative, and I believe the most important infrastructure piece that cuts across all initiatives in terms of our digital strategies lies on the telecommunication infrastructure. And I believe the telecommunication industry has a much more enhanced role to play in this journey as we go along the transformative process as a country. For the last 2 years, the telecommunication industry as well as the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission as the regulator of the industry has worked very closely in ensuring that we realize key objectives and KPIs from a national perspective. All of you all would know, due to the COVID pandemic again that struck us as well as the globe early last year, the need for communication became a key importance in terms of all facets of the public lifestyles. April 2020 saw a 40% increase in the demand for data services in Sri Lanka. We should note that this demand was on top of the existing infrastructure that we had as a country that was certainly not geared for such exponential growth overnight. Our public sector as well as the private sector had to move on to the phenomena of working from home early last year. The demographics of our student base, both the school children as well as the university children, had to adapt to studying from home. And of course also the critical infrastructure of the country relied on the telecommunication infrastructure. As you remember, the enablement of health services, the short codes, the emergency services, all were basically pivoting on top of the telecommunication infrastructure. Now this need and the priority is here to stay. Whether COVID goes off or not for the next couple of years, I believe certain paradigms that we have adopted in terms of the way we work are here to stay. The concept of working from home, teleworking, and remote working are going to be key aspects and strategies that organizations adopt both from a public and the private sector. Today, as we speak, for the digital transformation, again, if you look at the vision of Sri Lanka, a digital inclusive Sri Lanka enabled by a digital economy. If we focus on the digital inclusivity piece, there are three tenets. Out of that, one is affordability, and the other, accessibility and connectivity. Now today, when we look at affordability, I am proud to state that Sri Lanka has cut across and achieved significant metrics from the International Telecommunication Union perspective. Today, based on the latest global benchmarking reports in terms of affordability of internet, Sri Lanka stands tall. On the latest ITU report, Sri Lanka has achieved the rank of 20 for fixed broadband services, which means there's only 19 countries that offer much more cheaper services. For mobile broadband services, we've achieved the 13th rank globally, and it keeps on getting better. For mobile voice services, we've achieved the rank of 7th. Now, this is not us stating this. This is the International Telecommunication Union's independent global benchmarking report for 2021 that states it. So I believe as we go along enabling Sri Lanka's public as well as the private sector with technology, enabling our startups, the SMEs with technology assistance, I think it's important that we ensure that this technology and communication services are accessible on an affordable manner. In terms of accessibility, which is the other key piece of creating a digital inclusive Sri Lanka, the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission continues to work very closely with the telecommunications industry in ensuring that we roll out connectivity and coverage in terms of 4G and fiber broadband across every region of Sri Lanka. The Government Sannivedana program that we commenced, in fact, before the COVID pandemic, shows our pragmatic long-term vision. The Government Sannivedana program, in fact, was launched in December 2019 as a priority project under the guidance of His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself. Today, while we are nearing the end of 2021, after 2 years, the Government Sannivedana project has made significant strides. Today, we've launched work in 7 districts. We started off from Ratnapura district last October, 2020 October. We commenced the construction of 36 new towers to add on to the existing tower infrastructure within the district. The interesting aspect of this is the planning and the simulation all is done in cohesion with the telecommunication industry. Of course, the regulator leads the project, but we wouldn't have made it possible without the absolute support of the telecommunication industry. So the technical deliberations, the technical strategic planning, all are done in tandem with the industry. And I think that's a significant milestone as we look at the role of regulators globally, where we've been discussing this at the Asia Pacific Telecommunity Forum just a few weeks back, is to look at this new adage of working with the industry and enabling and catalyzing and accelerating activities of the industry. I think that is the new role of a regulator, and I'm glad as the Director General of TRCSL to state that we are making many strides in ensuring that we empower the industry. And of course, at this moment, I should also thank the industry in ensuring that they work hand in hand with the regulator and continue to make significant strides in ensuring that we as a telecommunication industry ensure the most important critical infrastructure piece is in place to realize the digital transformation vision of Sri Lanka. Now, it's not only the connectivity piece. We have continued to make significant strides in terms of other aspects. Sri Lanka boasts a very strong submarine cable ecosystem. We have also proceeded to be the first country to come up with our own submarine cable resilience and protection framework in tandem with the UN ODC and with the assistance of the government of Japan. We are poised by next year to be the first country within the region to have our own submarine cable resilience program. I think my colleague spoke initially. I think it's very important that we look at the legislative aspects. We need to ensure it's a conducive environment as we go along this journey of enabling Sri Lanka with technology. And I believe also in terms of the digital economy, placing Sri Lanka as a focal destination and a springboard for global technology giants to set up in Sri Lanka, I believe the telecommunication industry has a further role to play in addition to just connectivity. And that is through the establishment of a very strong data center ecosystem within the country. Today, as we speak, amidst the challenges of COVID, we managed to initiate and encourage the first career-agnostic data center just a few weeks back. The operators themselves continue to invest in new data center facilities across Sri Lanka. Now, as ICTA, we are also aligning our vision in ensuring that we support these initiatives. And one of the first initiatives that we are looking at is restructuring the Lanka government cloud to embrace the latest trends of cloud economies by ensuring we leverage on this data center ecosystem that's very strongly coming up within our country. I believe with that, the digital transformation activities within the public sector, especially, will be provided a best of the breed cloud infrastructure service as well, again, which I put the onus on the telecommunication industry, and I have no doubt that they will deliver. In terms of moving forward, the coverage is a key imperative for us. The Gamatasa Nivedana project, as I mentioned, will continue to ensure that we start work in 10 districts by the end of this year. By the year 2022, all the work started on the 10 districts this year will come to fruition, will come to completion. But alongside that, the rest of the 15 districts, the work will start in 2022. And I'm proud to state today, as we are engaging with the Eastern region today, the UA and the Eastern region today, that I'm glad to note in December, we are going to commence our coverage expansions from Gamatasa Nivedana in December for the Eastern region as well. For that, we require a lot of local support. I know there are 400 plus public entities that's connected today with us. And I would take this opportunity to request your support to ensure that we accelerate this coverage, which is going to be the critical success factor of enabling technology across the Eastern region. So moving forward, I believe I will open up the forum as we go on to discuss on further specifics. But let me, before finishing, also note that today as we speak about digital economy, creating a digital nomad destination for Sri Lanka is important. As much as we enable our local connectivity infrastructure, I'm proud to state that on the budget, the TRC concept of fiber connecting all 10,000 schools has been approved. We believe the final cabinet approval should come along by next week. I believe this is going to make a significant impact the way we are going to enable our next generation, again our next generation of that 4.2 million students to ensure that they have information at their fingertips. It's a bold target we have of ensuring we connect all 10,000 schools within a year. I know there's a COVID phenomena around, so there could be a minor deviation, but we have that target in mind, and I'm confident that we can drive towards it. From another perspective, I'm proud to also break the news that the public has been ever persistent about the likes of the Starlink services. I had my first conversation with SpaceX just day before yesterday. And I can today state that SpaceX, with their Starlink service, is absolutely interested in looking at Sri Lanka. I think this is an important service that will support our digital nomad initiative alongside the local connectivity. So I believe as a country, we are making significant strides in terms of enabling the technology infrastructure that is required for this rapid springboarding that we are looking at in terms of the digital transformation. So with that, I continue and look forward to the support of the telecommunication industry, The regulator, Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, will continue to work with the industry in ensuring that we provide that critical piece of communication infrastructure that's going to put in good stead, or the best stead, our digital vision for Sri Lanka. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ushada Senanayaka. With that, we are ready to move on to the panel discussion. And a kind reminder, if you have anything to clarify or any questions that you would like to ask from the panelists, you can surely drop your questions on the Zoom chat box, and the organizers will direct the question to us. And also you can use the raise your hand option to ask the questions directly from the panelists. And now I would like to open the floor for the panelists to share about their organization as well as to share their plans for the region. So let me start with Mrs. Supun Veerasinghe.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here, and so very sorry that we couldn't come in person, which we were planning to be there in the East with all of you. We were also planning to showcase some of the latest technology. Hopefully we will be able to come in person very soon, and then showcase the technology as well as provide you access to the very latest. I will provide an update in terms of our commitment to the region. Dialog as largest connectivity provider, especially on mobile as well as home broadband, has been taking very aggressive steps in terms of providing connectivity. We have a very large footprint both in the eastern province as well as in the Uva province, and we have been expanding that network. However, we also face with a lot of challenges when it comes to local authority approvals and public protests. So today you understand that connectivity is very crucial for every aspect of life. However, if you are faced with public protests and if you are faced with challenges for the approvals, then our network rollout will get held back. So I will share some numbers, and then I would sincerely appeal to you for your support so that you could give us approvals faster and help to explain to the public the need to have good connectivity so that we can roll out our services. In most situations, connectivity for rural consumers can be a life-saving, provide life-saving opportunities as well. Now we are in the process of connecting, there's a big stretch in the Ampara Road where there is no coverage in Ratugala. And we are in the process of erecting a temporary site which will come up within the first week of December, which will eliminate that large stretch of road which doesn't have any coverage so far. And similarly in Madolsima, Ratumba again, we are looking at providing connectivity by around mid to end December so that public in those villages have access to some form of connectivity, especially for emergency requirements. In addition to our broadband connectivity, we have been also expanding our services, both Govimitru service on agriculture, giving you advice on agriculture, which is on 616. When you dial 616, you can get access to agriculture services, which will give you agriculture tips on how to, what to cultivate, and in terms of giving daily tips on how to manage your crop. Then for the community in the east, especially we have a platform called Sayuru, which gives you advice on weather, especially on weather when you go fishing. It's a free of charge service where you get daily alerts, especially when there are bad weather incidents. Before going to sea, you can get updates, especially if there are bad weather conditions which you need to be aware of. There are more than 200,000 fishermen already using this service, so I would urge you to look at encouraging the public in your area, especially the fishing community, to make use of this platform. Then for the younger generation. We are always committed to bringing the very latest technology, and please make use of the Idea Mart platform, which we have created for development applications. We have a separate program for women, Idea Mart for women, where staying at home, you can create applications and extend to all Dialog subscribers. We have also Airtel and Hutch consumers using the same platform. So you can reach all Sri Lankan consumers through the Idea Mart platform, developing applications. So I encourage you to make use of that platform. In terms of key developments that we have done during the year and in terms of the network rollout, we have about 18 sites we have deployed during this year in the eastern region, including Ua and eastern province. We have about 59 sites, 59 lamp pole sites which are in progress, which we will commission this year. In terms of macro sites, we have about 433 sites which we had. We have completed another 15 sites this year, and we are in the process of adding another 28 sites. However, I think I should also remind you of the public protests that we are having in network rollout. So there are 9 sites which are held up in the macro network rollout because of either delays in approvals or public protests. So I sincerely request your support to clear that. And in terms of, so 9 sites have been terminated because of various reasons. In lamp poles, again, 6 sites have been terminated. And it's very unfortunate to terminate a site because of all these reasons. Maybe 1 or 2 individuals don't want to have the site, but hundreds of people will be deprived of connectivity when we terminate site, and that investment will go into some other place. So please help us to help you and help us to give you good connectivity. In terms of new lamp on acquisition stage, there are about 9 sites which are on hold, macro sites. And in terms of lamp pole sites, again, there are 5 sites which are on hold. So I think our sincere request, sincere appeal is that we are very committed to providing good connectivity to the public in the eastern region. Please help us to expedite the approvals so that we can facilitate good connectivity. The other day I was doing a webinar to a group of MBA students, and they were asking to compare my experience when I was in Bangladesh and in Sri Lanka. So one of the biggest experiences which I see in Bangladesh versus here is the speed at which we can roll out networks. There are very less public protest in that country. Here we have lots of time wasted in the approvals on the ground. I think now the COVID pandemic has shown why we need connectivity, why we need good connectivity. So I sincerely appeal to you for your support so that we can provide good connectivity. If I may ask to show the video on Idea Mart so that we can conclude my section.
Woman comes with a range of obstacles. 2019's global pandemic caused by the COVID-19 virus made women's independence limited and made them unemployed, disconnected and unsupported. Empowering women since 2018, Idea Mart for Women, the pioneer in tech-based ecosystem dedicated for women entrepreneurship, reached out to thousands of women beyond boundaries. Due to COVID-19, the engagement approach was digitized. This switch has empowered and nurtured hundreds of women to conquer lockdowns and restrictions by creating a positive social and economic impact. There were several new initiatives implemented to tackle new norms brought on by COVID-19 to create a female digital economy. TechLear was an online workshop series which guided women with a detailed curriculum to successfully build a digital business. He for Her encouraged Idea Mart male community to influence and aid women. Hundreds of women who were sidelined and devastated due to COVID-19 were able to connect with these initiatives to unleash their potential by thriving on this online platform to become digitally empowered and financially independent. Mahesha is an entrepreneurship enthusiast. who is trained and mentored by TechClear, enabling digital entrepreneurship.
IDEA Mart for Women again online පවත්වන ලද ටෙක්ලිය වැඩසටහනට සහභාගී වීමට මට අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා. පවතින COVID-19 සිටුේෂන් එක හැමුවේ ගොඩක් චූටි දරුවෝ 3 දෙනෙක් ඉන්න හන්ද මට එළියට යන්න තියෙන අවස්ථාව ඉතාමත් සීමිතයි. මේ අවස්ථාවේදී නිවසේ ඉඳගෙනම ඔන්ලයින් තාක්ෂණය හරහා අමතර ආදායමක් ලබා ගැනීමට IDEA Mart ආයතනය මට හොඳ මඟ පෙන්වීමක් කරා.
Ravi Shani is an undergraduate who got nurtured via the He For Her competition.
ඊපෝහ කම්පිටිෂන් එක ගැන මට දැනගන්න ලැබුණේ මගේ යාළුවෙක්ගේ මාර්ගයෙන්. එයා මට IDEA Mart ගැන සම්පූර්ණ පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරා. මම ගෙදරට වෙලා ඉන්න කාලේ අපතේ නොයලා මේ වගේ ප්‍රයෝජනවත් දෙයකට යොදා ගන්න ලැබීම ගොඩක් වටිනවා.
Chatuni and Purnima are IoT enthusiasts and proud partners of the IDEA Mart IoT platform.
IDEA Mart IoT combined with Telco technologies was a completely new experience.
Especially as an undergraduate, I got the opportunity to work with really cool stuff like dev boards.
So we did digital mentoring sessions and hands-on sessions with the IDEA Mart team, and finally did a virtual hackathon to showcase the best IoT products.
So I really appreciate all the work done by the team, especially during the pandemic situation.
A new generation of empowered women thriving even in the midst of a global pandemic. The strength of a woman is truly incomparable, and we pledge to continue guiding those in need to be their best. IDEA Mart for Women.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next panelist. Chief Corporate and Digital Officer, SRT Mobitel, Mr. Prabhat Ambekura.
First of all, I would like to thank ICTA for organizing an event like this, which will be able to communicate with you about our plans and arrangements. So as Director General mentioned, that Sri Lanka is going ahead with a very ambitious digital transformation program in Sri Lanka for make us the economic development and the technological economic development in Sri Lanka. So as a partner with this program, I would say the service providers like Sri Lanka Telecom and other service providers doing a very important role as an enabler for this program. So digital transformation will be supported by a lot of digital infrastructure facilities, so that it requires the country be supported with very robust infrastructure for digital enablement. So as Sri Lanka Telecom, as you understand that it is with you for long years, decades, so we have already made very critical infrastructure for backbone, especially to connecting all the cities, houses and enterprises to get all the connectivities with a good capacity and quality. So it has been going to not for Colombo but all the regions, including Eastern region, and getting all the networks connected with a reliable facility. Again, as mentioned, that it is not the domestic connectivity, it is supported with international connectivity, which we had many cables from the inception, and we are going for other undersea cables, the new cable, the CMV6 in the future. So we really had facilitated the right infrastructure for connecting Sri Lanka with globally. So with that, we are thinking of the next step, that how to get all the people connected, all the people are facilitated with the right technology. Not only the technology, so we understand that the responsibility comes with many parameters for them to get more adoption, more usage. The capacity, quality, affordability, availability are very critical in getting the people connected and make them very comfortable to use the services. So Eastern Province also far from Colombo, but it is not far from technology. We have been established our networks, not only the network, but to the network for serving the customers. So we have officers in all the regions equipped with all the manpower and the management and processes, so that the customers can be served very closely. So you can understand that the connectivity in terms of residentials and other business sectors, we launched recently the very important technology to the homes with fiber, which is called fiber to the home. So Eastern region also covered with our fiber rollout project, that is a 2 million fiber ports development aggressive program, and Eastern Province also is given that connectivity. So we have understand that many of the customers are very much interested in getting the fiber connectivity. As Director General mentioned, that the connecting to the schools with fiber is another major project which will enable schools and the future students for them to use technology for their education purposes, which will be facilitated with other many platforms and other contents to learn them from distance, where really the digital transformation will be enhanced with such programs. So I would say that if anyone wants to get the connectivity from Sri Lanka Telecom, I want to mention that it is an unlearning process, that being us in the industry for a long time with the copper networks, so many can think that SLT is providing copper, not the status today. So we provide full-fledged solution for any businesses or the consumers. So we provide services from voice, data, the video through our IPTV solutions, and other digital pack, the smart home and smart office pack for any customer. So what I want to understand is that if the businesses or any digital transformation required for a business, so we have the one-stop shop. Our services are arranged with very trained people for the account management, where they can really work out the solution for the business, and the support services from our operation maintenance centers there. So anyone wants to get a service, for instance, like the office, that if they want to get the connectivity and the Wi-Fi network and surveillance systems, their software pieces for running the business, or else that security and other additional infrastructure for them to use it, that everything can be provided with a one-stop shop. So in the Eastern region, it is available with our regional centers. So anyone wants to find these solutions, really our infrastructure and the people are ready to help and do whatever you want. So having said that, I want to mention that our network is available for Eastern region people through Mobitel with our mobile network, and SLT with fiber, copper, and the fixed wireless broadband network. So the facilities are available for you, and we have many packages, the customized tailor-made packages, even so solutions, it is ready. And we are keep on expanding where it is required. With the, as Director General mentioned, the government Sannivedana project, which will go in for the rural areas. The Sri Lanka Telecom is really working with the supporting and enabling all these projects very close with TRC. So just mentioning that, I would really want to emphasize the fact that Sri Lanka Telecom is always for you to get your services provided connected with quality and the reliability. And I think that the digital enablement will be helped in great manner through the Sri Lanka Telecom.
Thank you very much. Let's now move on to our next panelist, Mr. Ashish Chandra.
Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this forum. So I'm really thankful to ICTA and TRC for giving this opportunity to us to present ourselves here and talk to one of the most important region for Airtel, which is the northern region. As you know, Airtel is the world's third largest telecommunication company, and we had been serving Sri Lanka for last 13 years. Eastern region is something which is very important for us. Within the Airtel ecosystem, our highest market share market is actually the Eastern province. And our biggest investments in terms of the proportion has actually come to the Eastern region. To give you some statistics, we have invested with more than 300 sites in the region. And as we speak, we are rolling out 50 more new sites in the region to provide coverage in the areas where it has not been covered. In the last year, we have seen that the need of data has grown drastically in this region. And in the last 2 years, the entire data consumption has actually grown up 3 times, which is actually a happy situation. And to cover that up and to provide services to our consumers, we continue to invest in this region. In last 1 year, we have upgraded our entire network to a 4G network, which is actually 5G ready for us. And very soon, we'll be conducting our 5G trials, and I'll come back to you guys to know when all that will be done, and you'll be privy to that. As DG said, that it is very important for us that if the economy of the country has to grow, the telecommunication is going to be the backbone sector or the backbone industry for us. We believe at Airtel, there are two key things that we need to achieve. First, we need to provide every citizen of Sri Lanka a connectivity, not only a mobile connectivity, but a broadband mobile connectivity. Multiple studies across the world shows that every 10% increase in the mobile or a broadband mobile connectivity has given 2 to 3% increase in the GDP. And we have seen in the last 2 years, during the time of pandemic, that the entire economy of the country was actually working on the platform, which is digital platform, supported by or provided by the telecommunication, especially the mobile telecommunication infrastructure which is being provided. Here, I would like to reiterate what Supun said some time back, that the entire telecommunication industry is in a completely top gear to increase the infrastructure everywhere, wherever it is possible. But we need your help, especially the local authorities, to give us faster permission to be able to roll out our sites. If there are no sites, how can we connect the last mile to the internet or to the world? And that's where we really need your support to give a faster approvals for the rollout of the sites and help us handle the public protest which is happening, which is not letting the sites come up in the areas where there's no connectivity. Second big thing on which we are focusing is to provide an affordable mobile connectivity to every citizen of Sri Lanka. Because what we believe is higher is going to be the mobile connectivity to the last mile, better is going to be the growth of the economy. And in this area, we have recently launched a plans which we typically call as a freedom plan, which is one of the most affordable plan in the South Asia. And this is keeping in view that can we provide a high-speed data in large quantity to every citizen of Sri Lanka. And we will continue to do that to take it to the last mile. Not only this, what we also believe that to build up a digital ecosystem or digital economy in the country, we need a large youth force coming out of colleges and universities, taking up this mantle of bringing up new businesses or even joining the corporate sector as professional and taking it to the next level. So we have tied up with multiple universities. To give you the name of few: University of Sabragama, University of Kalenia, Colombo University, University of Jaffna. And we are very open to all the universities who want to partner with us to provide a practical experience to the students when they come out of the college, so that they are able to either start up their own businesses or they become a successful entrepreneur or successful professional in the corporate world. And I would really like to say this, that we are there to support all the startups which are happening. We are currently working very closely with TRC to provide most economical telecommunication package so that any startup which is coming up does not have the pinch of not being connected to the entire world because of the cost. With that, I would really like to thank once again DGTRC and the ICTA to give us this opportunity to talk one-on-one with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashish Chandra. With that, we would like to move on to our next panelist, Mr. Thirukumar Nadarasa.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning to the Eastern region. I want to thank the chairman, ICTA, for organizing this event. We were all looking forward to visiting all of you down the East Coast. Unfortunately, we've not been able to this time, but we look forward to coming down there very shortly in the near future. Hutch, as some of you will know, has been operating in Sri Lanka for 25 years. And in particular, we've been focused in delivering affordable mobile services in the rural areas over these years. In 2019, we have proceeded to merge with Etisalat and develop a larger network throughout the country. At the same time, we have deployed an advanced 4G network with over 2,200 sites across the country to offer reliable and affordable mobile broadband connectivity. We plan to add another 480 sites nationwide in the next 6 months to further enhance our broadband coverage and connectivity. We have also deployed a very large range of affordable data packages, and as the chairman mentioned in his speech, today Sri Lanka is delivering some of the most affordable global tariffs in the world. So I think the industry is delivering on this side, and we hope that this will facilitate the advance and development of startups here in Sri Lanka. We are ready here to support the startups in the Eastern region. I believe we have the connectivity and we have the affordable packages in place to support you, and the entire industry, including Hutch, are also standing by to help you in any way to further develop the business in the Eastern region. We appreciate that in the past, to start up, you may have had to come to Colombo or the Western region to access infrastructure. But today, you can literally be in your own home on the East Coast and be able to start a business online from anywhere in the Eastern region. And I was actually thinking about the digital nomad, is that today digital nomads can combine the connectivity with the beauty of Sri Lanka and come to Sri Lanka and establish startups even in the Eastern region along the beautiful beaches that you have there. So this is something that we should encourage overseas visitors to think about and help support the local startup ecosystem here in Sri Lanka. So we look forward to helping you in any way we can. Please reach out to us and we will see what we can do to support any future growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We would now like to move on to our next panelist, Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe.
Good morning. Thank you for giving us opportunity. Certainly, like Thiru mentioned and the DG mentioned, we are very keen to visit you all and to be with you all and talk to your real problems. Unfortunately, we miss it. I'm sure we'll be able to see you all soon. From Lankabel, I'm sure everybody is aware, we are the truly only telecommunication company in the country and only fixed line operator in the country. Certainly, if I say a small snapshot about Lankabel, we connected to the world's largest fiber network, which we call FLAG. We manage the land station. We are happy, actually, we connected that when the country had a whole lot of problem in the international connectivity in 2008. At the same year, we launched, 2014, we launched even 4G. Currently, because of the fixed line, you all will not see Lankabel everywhere. Certainly, with the limitations, we are happy to serve you I'm sure most of Eastern Province supported us as well. Even currently, you all use Lankabel CDMA phones and Lankabel 4G connection. In addition to that, we are full-fledged with the complete ICT solutions. Even SME.lk is part and parcel of our product. So anything related to technology, certainly we will be able to support, like Thiru and all other telco CEOs mentioned. Whatever you feel it, and if it is related to technology, please reach us. Certainly we can work together and build this country. More than the Lankabel, I just want to start the next session. Is a Q&A. Surely you will have a problem on connectivity. The connectivity piece is clearly a problem for the country today. How do we solve this connectivity problem? But at the same time, the connectivity has a two components. One is a dedicated, other one is a common shard. The dedicated ones, I think we have seen ATMs, we have seen online bank branches, and now so many years. Maybe even 2003 we have seen it. It started in 1990s. That means the direct, dedicated connectivity available in this country is every time. Even today is same. We have seen Eastern Startup Hub launch today. For that kind of companies, for you to run a business, if you want the connectivity, that means you need the dedicated connectivity, which is available. There's no issue. Wherever you want to set up your office, certainly the telcos, we can provide you the connectivity. But when it's come to a shared network, shared mobile connectivity, certainly you will need the towers. That is something I think always we should appreciate our current DG, Mr. Oshad, who started this project called Gamata Sanvedane. I always want to say this about to the people because they should understand the real value of this project. If you understand the value, certainly you all will engage with ICTA and telcos and to start it and finish it and focus on that project so that we'll be able to solve our connectivity problem completely. My request to Eastern Province, please work with ICTA and telcos and all other operators. Like Supun mentioned, if you are in the planning stage, you will never go against the towers. Then you understand the requirement of tower. If you want the mobile related connectivity, you need the physical tower. If you go against that, then you will not have a connectivity. You can't have the both sides. For you to understand, my request, engage with ICTA for Gamata Sanvedane project. As per the DG's current plan, end of 2022, we will be able to see complete 25 districts in the country connected 100%. Certainly, Starlink will give you support, but may not be the same price. Maybe they will improve a lot on the speed and the response time, but surely the fiber or the mobile local network, the quality will never be able to match. The Starlink will certainly support the connectivity problem, but not the quality. In that sense, anyway, whatever we started in the Gamata Sanvedane will be the project for the future. Please engage with us and plan it so that identify the problems upfront. If there's a real issue, don't take that area and take the correct area and be with like always we talk about the Ratnapura, 36 towers. If you go and see now, you can see the end of that project. The same way we should be able to see Eastern Province and covering all 6 districts, 2 provinces and complete coverage so that we can go to the next step of building businesses, making the resource out of the connectivity and to build this country forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are many questions flowing in. Let me start with Mr. Prabhat Ambegoda. So there's a question from the audience. The question is, when it comes to children and their education, parents have to spend a lot on data as they are not aware of some of the packages that were provided by ICTA. What sort of actions that you took to overcome this matter and make them aware?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think it is a very good question posed to me. As a company with I think regulators, DG's advice and directions, we have made many attempts to provide services especially for students' education in this pandemic period, and we worked out services with affordability for the families to get their children education. So our communications are really happening, but I understand that certainly sometimes it may not be gone to every corner which they want to understand. So you may think that for especially for the education, we have the add-on packages for broadband services where you can really get your children's data requirements with a very low prices, which they won't get much burden getting their children's education online and other platform access. As well as I think Director mentioned that e-Takshalawa, the platform is completely free for education, and there are many other access through POTV for the education. So those are very important facilities for children education, and those are available in our website, those are available from our regional officers, and if you can contact, need more information, we have very close setup in your regions, our service centers, and you can call our call center 1212, and you can send email, SMS and other facilities for these centers to get the information. So especially Sri Lanka Telecom website sle.lk provides all the information if you can access to that for easy and convenience.
Thank you very much. And the next question from the audience is to Mrs. Supun Veerasinghe. The question is, on IdeaMart platform, why other service providers are not connected other than Dialog and Hutch?
We have also Airtel connected on that. I think only service provider that is not connected is Mobitel. We will look at bringing Mobitel also onto the same platform, but I think when you look at the 3 service providers, you reach a very significant part of the country. So my sincere request is to start with the group that you have, and we will also take this feedback and look at inviting Mobitel to join the IdeaMart community.
Thank you. And the next question is to Mr. Oshada Senanayaka, and this is also from the audience. What are the other activities TRC is working on to improve connectivity and digital infrastructure in the eastern region?
Yeah, so as I explained previously, the Gamata Sannivedana project is well articulated. So we look at all 25 districts on an equal basis. So when we started off last year, first thing we had to do was to ensure that we derive information from all 14,022 Gramanildari divisions on ensuring and understanding which areas are underserved, which areas are actually non-served at all. Certain areas in Sri Lanka, we still have dark spots which doesn't even have 2G, which means you can't even take a basic phone call, for example. When we look at the eastern province, that has been a key aspect of our plan. Today, as I speak, as I mentioned, we've got all the data from all the Gramanildari divisions within the eastern and the Uva region as we speak today. So that has put us in good stead to finish off the next step, which was the technical deliberations. So once we get this data from each and every of these Gramanildari divisions, as I mentioned earlier, we work with the telecommunication technical teams to ensure that we do the simulations. Then we also understand what sort of tower infrastructures has to come in for the region. And that's the way we ensure that we don't leave out any space or area again. So it takes time, but as I mentioned, December we are launching the Trincomalee district work. But again, as mentioned by both Supun and Ashish, we are facing severe challenges in the eastern region. I should very openly tell this. Compared to the other regions, TRC has applied for certain tower approval. So what the public has to understand is it's not the TRCSL only which has to give approval for this tower infrastructure. There are 10 to 15 more other government agency approvals that is required to finally give the TRC the go-ahead to tell the operators, look, now you can go and set up these towers. But unfortunately, in the eastern region, we see a very negative trend where almost just a few months back even, almost a cluster of applications that are sent across for new towers has been rejected. So I would like to take this opportunity to ensure that the local government authorities has to take this on a very positive and a very serious priority note, because as much as we do all the plannings and we work together with the telecommunication industry, the TRC cannot help activate this required connectivity for the region if we don't get the local authority support. So I think there's a lot of work which we are willing to do with you all within the region, but I think it's very important that the local authorities also prioritize this aspect. Otherwise, how much of planning is not going to ensure the connectivity, because at the end of the day, it's ensuring that we set up these tower infrastructures. And as you would also know, after approval, these towers takes 3 to 4 months to 5 months to set up. These are 60-meter towers. Certain areas require quite deep foundations that have to be put out. So my call out today, as we have a lot of public entities connected with us today, is to please support us and be part of this journey to ensure that we can enable the eastern region rapidly in terms of 100% 4G and broadband connectivity.
Thank you very much. With that, let's move on to Mr. Ashish Chandra. How can we leverage Airtel global presence to drive technology adaptation in the Eastern cluster?
Thank you. I think a very important question, and this is something that we had been debating from last about a year. And that's the reason why we have modernized our network. And as I was telling you, we have converted in last 1 year our network to a 4G network, which is actually 5G enabled. Now, Airtel is present in about 18 countries and serving nearly 484 million customers across the world. Now, we are providing not only the connectivity, which is a mobile connectivity, we are into enterprise services, we are into security solutions, and we are not only this, we are also creating a lot of platforms on which we are providing access to the startups to go and market their products and services to all these 18 countries. And just before this conference, in fact, I was having a discussion with DG saying how can we accelerate, or how can we, Airtel as an ecosystem can help Sri Lanka entire startup ecosystem to go to the next level. So our plans are very clear in our mind. As soon as we're going to finish our rollout, which is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months, we will be seriously looking at bringing all the global services that Airtel is providing all across the world, mainly focus on enterprise and the startups to the Sri Lanka areas. But before we get that, we need to create an infrastructure on which we can provide these services to the people or to the consumers in the eastern region. So currently that's phase 1 for us, which will end by end of this year, and next year you can expect a lot of global services we'll be bringing to the country.
Thank you very much. And the next question is to Mr. Thirukumar Nadarasa. How do you position Sri Lanka in your corporate expansion plan?
Hutch Sri Lanka is part of the global Chungkong group. We have operations in many countries in Asia as well as in Europe. Sri Lanka has been a long-term investment for us. As I mentioned, we came to Sri Lanka back in 1997, and we've been continuously investing in Sri Lanka and developing Sri Lanka as a market. We operate in many markets, large and small. We're in the UK, we're in Italy, we're in Indonesia, Hong Kong, Vietnam. So each market, we look at how we can best serve the local people in this market. And we will try to develop appropriate products and services and technologies that is best suited for the people in each country. And I believe that we've been doing so over the last 25 years, and we hope to bring whatever appropriate technology and products from our group to Sri Lanka as needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me now move on to our next panelist, Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe. This question is also from the audience, and it's amazing to see the number of questions flowing from the audience. So the question is, how about Sri Lanka's readiness for technology revolution in terms of connectivity in regional rural areas?
The today's situation is that, say, if you compare with the the near region, I'm sure we can rate our coverage is okay, but it doesn't mean it's solve all the problems. Certainly, we have to find a correct approach to solve the problem. That I'm sure everybody will agree the solution is the Gamata Sanvedaniya. But it doesn't mean that today's coverage has issues. Like I mentioned earlier, the coverage is a problem only for a common use. If it is related to startup, any company, any solution, if somebody can pay a little more, because the shared network, you get like 1/100th of the cost to you, because of that you won't feel it. At the same time you feel it, you are going to get that speed only for yourself. That is the mistake. But always you are paying 1/100th of the price means, and you are out of 100 users. But if other 99 users are heavily using, you will have an impact in the quality. That is something I feel the Sri Lankan population is not really understanding. Maybe it's our mistake the way we communicate. We are communicating up to the speed, up to the levels, but we are not really communicating that. We expect everybody to understand it. In that sense, there is an issue that is the common public connectivity. But certainly for a startup, any company, maybe a equipment like ATM connectivity or CRM connectivity, there's no issue at all. In that sense, I think we are in a very top level. If you take the worldwide, the technology, I'm sure everybody will agree, telecommunication and banking are in very high level compared to the world and Sri Lanka. You remember even the 4.5 first time launch in the South Asia region in Sri Lanka. I still remember even the 4G and 3.5G also, thanks to the Telco group in the country. But in that sense, I think we are experiencing the latest technology, but maybe a small things like a connectivity coverage level. If we solve that problem as planned, and we should be able to take that into the next level.
Thank you very much. Let me now move on to Mr. Oshada Senanayaka. The question is, can you enlighten us on school fiber connectivity project implementation in Eastern region?
Yes, very good question, and I think one of the most critical projects as I spoke about earlier. So going back 6 months in April, we started a pilot project which started off from the Siambalandu school in Monragala. We managed to enable the school with 3 fiber lines, and we enabled this concept of the ICTA platform which I explained earlier. ICTA, for example, is completely based on open source technology called Moodle. It is a collaboration between the Ministry of Education, the ICTA, TRC, as well as industry volunteerism coming from certain organizations. Now, what we conceptualized was, what if we can provide the best of the breed access to content to children, irrespective of where they're schooling. So, for example, the Monragala school that I talked about, the Siambalandu Mahavidyalaya, we managed to connect this through the ICTA platform live to a Royal College English class in April. Within the first few minutes, of course, what we saw was the children who connected from the Siambalandu end was quite intimidated because it was quite new for them. The classroom was enabled by a smart classroom board that was connected with the fiber connectivity I mentioned. Within the smart classroom board, the ICTA platform enabled the connectivity of that classroom with the English teacher from the Royal College Colombo. Now, what that enabled was for the Royal College English teacher to provide the same classroom experience to the Siambalandu school live through the connectivity. Now, after 20 minutes, as I said, interestingly, I always use this as a case study, the answers to almost all the questions came from, not from the Colombo side, but also from the Siambalandu side. So my example of this is that we have 10,150 approximately schools in Sri Lanka. 3,000 schools are less than 200 students. So those are smaller schools. And we are facing a challenge of teacher accessibility. For example, if you look at subjects such as English, ICT, mathematics, I think these are key important pieces for a future digital Sri Lanka. So I believe by connecting the 10,250 schools with fiber, I believe we are going to create a tremendous new environment where the school where the child stays or learns is not going to be the key imperative. Whether the child is in Simbalandu or whether the child is in Ampara or whether the child is in Batiklo school wouldn't matter. They can still have access to the best of the teachers that the Colombo schools have access to. Now imagine the impact it's going to make on the future generations of our children coming out to serve the country. So I believe this is our strategy and this is our objective to ensure we crack through the digital divide right now which we have and ensure that children across Sri Lanka will have best of the breed access. Now interestingly, the Itaksala platform, as I mentioned earlier, thanks to the telecommunication industry, is absolutely accessible free of charge. Now that's also a game changer where it is not only through the school that the children of the future can access this content. When you go home, the parents can also extend that to homeschooling the child, again without any accessibility costs. So we are cutting across that affordability piece also. So I believe within the next year, if we can achieve that target of enabling fiber connectivity to all the schools and also the Eastern Province as well, it's going to happen parallelly. So it's not going to be just one district that is prioritized. It is going to cut across parallelly as we speak. So the 10,250 school, if you divide by 12 months, for example, we believe if we can cover 1,000 schools per month, I think within the next year, hopefully we wouldn't face any COVID situation again in the future. We believe that we can enable this. Of course, there's another challenge that is going to still be with us. That is the device enablement for these children. Again, we are looking at, I've just visited a local manufacturing factory in Hambantota just a few weeks back. We believe if we can put a smart board in each and every classroom across these schools after we enable it with fiber, we have approximately 150,000 classrooms across that 10,250 schools. I believe that is going to complete our success story of enabling each and every child of Sri Lanka with the best of the breed access to education. And I believe that's going to put Sri Lanka in the best stead in achieving that vision of a digital Sri Lanka. So that is our target, and we are absolutely focused on ensuring that we achieve this within the next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oshada Senanayaka. And surely education is the passport to the world. With that, we have few open questions for the panelists. And the first open question from the audience is that, how do we protect mobile consumers from cyber crimes?
I can give a brief on that. So I think as the world goes digital, and as all of your consumption goes through the internet, be it through the mobile or through the PC, you have to be very careful of the various activities, criminal activities, the viruses that will come onto your mobile or to your device, and then you have to be extra precautious in terms of making sure you have the right protection, virus guards on your device as well as on your PC. There is also a lot on education. A significant part of protecting oneself from the cyber crimes is about education. You have to be up to date in terms of not to download stuff which you are not sure of, or coming from sources which you are not very familiar. Because most of these criminal activity or various activities happen through unknown sources. So you have to educate the users. It could be your family members, it could be your relatives. Please educate that not to rely on content coming from unknown sources. It could be through SMS, it could be through an email, which you will click and then get into trouble. Similarly, there's a lot of scams on lotteries saying that you won something, please pay 10,000 rupees to claim the lottery. So again, people get caught in these scams thinking that that is a genuine lottery. So you can always validate with the service providers whether there is such a winning, and I'm sure none of the service providers or none of the organizations will charge you anything to give you a gift that you have won. So education plays a very, very big role. Making sure your software in the phone is up to date is another aspect that you need to keep in mind. Then keeping the children safe from the internet and making sure that when they are using platforms such as social media, there is again tools to control the time you spend on the internet, time you spend online. You can set it in a manner that it will disable after the allowed period of time. So I think we can facilitate, we can do workshops to guide you if necessary, but large part of preventing is through better education and awareness.
To what Supun said, I would always give an example saying, start considering your digital property like your physical properties. So the way you keep your house and your valuables under lock and key, keep your password safe, don't share it with people. And the moment you start considering your digital identity as your physical identity and all your digital properties as your physical properties, I think half the battle will be won, as what Supun said. Most of the cyber crimes are not happening because of the high-tech things. It is happening because people are giving away information which is not required to be given. So we need to be a little more prudent in what information do we share with the people who we are not supposed to share those informations with.
Thank you very much. The next open question is, for all network providers, are you considering the healthcare when developing your network technologies to next step?
Yeah, maybe I'll just touch on that. Healthcare is a very important element. I think as we take on connectivity, education, which ICT chairman mentioned in detail, healthcare is also another very important area. The COVID-19 pandemic saw that we also activated a home care platform, which has served over 110,000 COVID patients now. So initial stages, when somebody got COVID, we had to take that person to a quarantine center. But in the last wave, we found that the quarantine capacity was running out. So the Ministry of Health activated a home care platform. The Bank of Ceylon also came forward. So we have served over 110,000, and I was just looking at the number of patients that we have served in the eastern region. We have served in Ampara, Trincomalee, Batiklo, Monaragala, Badulla, over 7,500 patients. We have taken care of them at home. The GMOA doctors with the Ministry of Health guidance have taken care of them at home. Less than 110 have been moved to a hospital out of those 7,500. And also another statistic in that 110,000 patients that we have taken care of, only one fatality. Only one person died, taking care of 110,000. So 110,000 out of 500,000 was taken care of at home. So this proves that home care and remote care is viable, and we can serve without having to visit a clinic at the nearby hospital. We can give practical home care. So now the Ministry of Health is, with the help of World Health Organization, is looking at extending this platform for primary care. So if you have fever, if you have diarrhea, you, without having to visit the hospital, because it might be difficult, you might be at night, no proper transport, you can call the hospital and get guidance, get medical care, and make sure that you settle, you manage the condition, and if there is a very critical requirement, then transfer to a hospital. Similarly, without having to come to a clinic in, say, Lady Ridgeway Hospital in Colombo for a pediatric care, you can go to the hospital in Trincomalee or Batiklo and then consult the expert doctor in Colombo. That is also being planned. So the COVID care platform was the first step, but the Ministry of Health is looking at extending it to all primary care, so that we need to waste time at clinics, and we can provide better care at home while you stay using these telecommunications platforms.
I would also like to add to what Supun said. What we have seen in last 1.5 years is that the mental health has also become a very key focus area, because during the time of pandemic, a lot of people land up in a situation either in a deep depression or they got into anxiety, which is also in a way now established after effects of COVID once you've been through COVID. So Airtel has launched 1926 chat line, which is a mental health chat line with National Institute of Mental Health. So people who are suffering from any kind of anxieties, mental health, have suicidal tendencies and other stuff, can actually chat on this particular helpline with the experts who will help you guide through your mental health. So one of the area what Supun touched about is the physical health. I would also like to stress upon the mental health is also becoming more and more important as this pandemic continues going on and on.
Thank you very much. And the final open question is, are there any possibilities to all service providers of Sri Lanka to work together in bigger projects like Google Loon?
I'll just add up to that. I think let's not talk about the Google Loan because I don't want to get into that, but I think already the regulator as well as industry is working on the most critical national project, which is the Government Sannivedana. I believe we have to stop trial and errors and all of that. We have to have a very concise and long-term plan. And as Dr. Prasad has also mentioned, the Government Sannivedana is the most sustainable project moving forward. Government Sannivedana is not only just a coordination project for TRC. The Telecommunication Regulatory Commission is investing 50% of the capital expenditure required for setting up these tower infrastructures in rural areas. So it's an incentive that the TRC is providing the telecommunication industry. And this is not something which is only relevant to Sri Lanka. This is called a Universal Service Obligation Fund system, which is applicable to all countries. Pakistan, Cambodia, Indonesia, as we talk about, have their own versions of Government Sannivedana being driven forward as we speak. So I think what's important is we have a strategic approach and a long-term one at that to ensure that we address this connectivity issue for once and for all. I think we are making tremendous impacts, positive impacts. Today, I think we have launched over 30 tower infrastructures, inclusive of special projects with the industry. What that means is a particular 60-meter tower typically covers around 4 to 5 kilometer range, right? Which means about 25 to 30 villages. So do your math, and it's about 900 plus villages already empowered with 4G connectivity without even looking at the fiber aspect, right? As we go along within this challenging period. So I believe as we go along today, as I mentioned, work is in progress in 7 districts. We are going to launch 3 more districts, including the eastern region by December. I think this is what's most critical for us to look at. And also the second aspect is in terms of ICT enablement, in terms of looking at the data center services, for example, ensuring incubation and catalyzing the startups. I think that's areas that the telecommunication industry is coming along and partnering public entities such as the TRC and ICTA. So with that, I'll pass it on to my colleagues from the industry to elaborate further.
I just want to add it. I think like what the question asked, the answer is yes. The Government Sannivedana is the answer. The good example, when you see the Government Sannivedana tower, you will not see the another tower next to that, which you are seeing today. That means what the question raised person asked, we are sharing all the towers. That nobody can go and put another tower next place. The reason we plan together as a whole, not only telcos, and your question about the telcos together, yes, all the telcos are there. We are not going to replan it again. That means this plan will at least remain unchanged the reasonable future. That means yes, answer, the all are together to finding a solution to a correct problem. But what you can do, and think, my belief is always we have to see what the value addition we can bring it to table. What the Eastern Province people can do is understand the real problem. If you are seeing the connectivity as a problem, please support this project. This is the project, and we are together already. Certainly, like DG and the Supun mentioned, please come on board, understand the problem. If there's really a problem on one or two areas, certainly we'll change the plan and drive it, and we'll see the end result soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, the panelists, it would be great if you can share your final remarks and your messages. I'll start with Mr. Prabhat Ambeguda.
Well, I think as we all communicating about the technology and the connectivity, what it brings you actually, you are really privileged to get any global services or your plans at your home place. So it is not a matter of any resource deviations or some unfair facilities for you, because that telecommunication infrastructure will provide you the things at your home place or a workplace, so that you can really plan out with your full potential to join with the economic program in the country, so that you can really uplift your life and you can contribute to the economy with the use of these important technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll move on to our next panelist for a very brief message. Mr. Supun Veerasinghe.
Thank you. Again, thank you for having us in the Eastern region. We are truly committed to providing you very best of connectivity infrastructure. We are also keen to extend other services on top of that. It could be health, education, agri-tech, or helping your startups. So look forward to your support so that we can work together and make a meaningful impact in the lives of people in the Eastern region. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Oshita Senanayaka.
I believe as we end 2021, I think the telecommunication industry has come a long way from a very fragmented environment way back in 2019 as we started off. I believe the telecommunication industry is today unified in driving forward the national agenda of digital transformation. I think it's important as public entities, we also ensure that we continue to catalyze these sort of industries, which are key imperatives and key pillars for our digital journey as a nation. Today, in terms of pragmatic tax structures, we've held sway for 2 years. We've ensured uniformity for 2 years. That has enabled, as I mentioned, us to be on the top 20 and in fact the top 10 rankings for affordability as a country. We managed to enable certain services that has been demanded by the public for so many years, such as the number portability aspects. Unlimited plans are back. And as again the leadership mentioned, there are specialized plans right now that I would encourage the public to go and explore through their own service providers. There are special education packages that you can get a gigabyte as much as low as less than 5 rupees per gigabyte. So I think my call out to the public is to help us and let's be part of this journey. And to the public entities connected today from the Eastern region, we look forward to your absolute support in terms of realizing this journey. And I think in terms of enabling the Eastern region with connectivity, I can assure you the fullest commitment as the TRCSL as well as the telecommunication industry. And I think with your support on the ground to continue to accelerate this coverage, I'm absolutely certain that we can create the Eastern region to be one of the key pivots for our digital journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ashish Chandra.
On the behalf of telecommunication industry and on the behalf of all the CEOs, I really want to commit to you guys that the telecommunication industry is completely committed to grow the Eastern region. So I'm sure if you have any specific need, well, as an industry, we are doing a lot of stuff individually as each operator. But if you still have any specific needs, please feel free to write to us and we will do everything possible within the economics of the demand that you have to provide that demand of yours back to you guys. So we are completely committed for the growth and making Eastern region completely a digital region. Thank you.
Mr. Thirukumar Nadarasa.
Thank you. As you can see from this event organized by the ICTA, the entire telecom industry is working very closely with the public bodies of TRC and ICTA to bring affordable, accessible connectivity to the entire country, including the eastern region. Even before the Gamata Sanvenia project, the mobile operators, although we're competitors, we have been sharing towers, sharing infrastructure, sharing transmission that enable us not only to quickly deliver service to you, but to deliver service to you at an affordable rate. And we hope that the Gamata Sanvenia will be the final piece of the puzzle to give you full coverage and full accessibility to the whole country as we work together. And we look forward to the support from the local people and the local authorities to help us achieve this mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Prasad Samrat-Singha.
Thank you for the ICTA and all the local agencies from the Eastern Province. This kind of thought process is, I think, really creative and giving us a good energy to drive it. Hope we will be able to see a results of this kind of event. It's a two-day event. I'm sure the energy which we are going to create from this, we should be able to see the results. And surely the telco industry is happy to be part of it. And we are happy to support you all to take this country forward. Mainly for the digital side, adding to the digital economy, expand it. I am sure that is the real future for this country. And whatever you see today, not like those days, for you to go and buy a server takes a lot of time. Today is just a matter of seconds. You can set up your servers as a service. Same way we are here to provide most of the services as a service. Can be Wi-Fi, can be cameras, can be data center services. The similar way, maybe IoT. And let's start. And maybe you are today small, but your knowledge and energy is much more powerful. Let's see the results soon and hope to see you, everybody physically, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a very big thank you to all our panelists. And ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the panel discussion of the first forum. So once again, a very big thank you for your valuable time and also especially for the valuable insights you shared with everyone. So wish you all the very best, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we conclude the first forum